All right, YouTube, we're gonna do our real versus rep Reimagined Bred 4s. To the right, we have a pair that I got for retail from Foot Locker. As you can tell by they're still in the bag. We will pull those out the bag, and then we will unbox this rep pair. I cut the back so we can just shake them out. There is the rep box right there for you. And here is the retail box to the right. So now that we have those out, I will tell you that in person, they look pretty close. There is a slight difference in the color, but it is so close. Very, very close. I would say that the gray is a little different on the, or not gray, I should say cement is different on the, a little different on the rep pair than on the retail pair, but they're pretty close. Maybe you can see it there. Box sizing, they did get correct. The boxes are the exact same size, and I'll show you the sizing in just a moment. Rep left, retail right. So if you can see with the rep, the box to the left is just a little bit darker, but it is really, really close. You can also see that on the rep pair, the Jumpman is more straight up. On the retail pair, he's a little bit more lean to the right. He's also a little skinnier in the midsection on the retail versus the rep pair per the picture. Other than that, details look. Back of the boxes are both black with eggshell paint. The rep box is a little bit more scratched, and you can see the structure of the box, as well as there's a little bit of marking there, which I'll pull it in closer so you can take a look at that. So see the lines going down, you can kind of see the structure of the box versus the retail box. You don't see that much stuff going on there with that one. All right, here are the box labels, retail versus rep. And looking at them, you can automatically see that this is the rep on the bottom, this is the retail on the top. The labels are different. And I think what's happened with these is when they made the reps, they got a European release that has a different size tag on it. So the tag looks way different. But that doesn't mean that if you get one with a tag like this, that it's fake. It just means that they copied the European version. And there are some other differences that you see throughout the shoe, and it might just be the one that they made a copy of. So this one only has, it has the 11.5. It doesn't have the women's size underneath it like this one does. It does have the UK size, the BR, the CM, and the Europe, but it doesn't have it in women's. So that's the main difference between the two labels. Other than that, the writing on the labels, the rep writing is a little chunkier. It's a little more bold, whereas the writing, the Air Jordan is a little thinner on there. You can also tell that the retail label is just a little bit more shinier, and the rep label is a little bit more flat. And I will give you some close-ups of those. This is the retail label on the pair from Foot Locker. This is the rep label. All right, we have the rep to the left, retail to the right. Retail, you can see the numbers there. 271058-23AJ4R20. Trey _360 times 265 times 130. The rep pair says the exact same thing. So they do have the box size down correctly. Again, rep left, retail right. The rep came from B-Kick. You can find them on Instagram, WhatsApp, and get a discount code. I'm using Dr. J on the website. So to the left, we have the rep pair. And as you can see, this paper is much different. It is much lighter in comparison. So you can barely even see the cement print. So the retail is to the right, rep is to the left. Paper-wise, they feel to be about the same thickness, so that wouldn't be a tail. So let's get these out the box and have a look. Before I wanted to take them out the box, this is the rep. The right shoe is on top, but on the retail pair, the left shoe is usually on top and the right shoe is under the paper. Just a small detail that you can use to tell when you're unboxing. Also wanted to show you some differences in the box before I get rid of the shoes. So this is the rep box over here. They have a piece of wax paper in the box, and it does not look like they have the, oh yes they do, they have the, there's a green sticker in the rep box. And the retail pair, they have just another piece of tissue paper that's a little bit waxy, and the green YDM sticker or whatever that says is right there. All right, you have the rep pair to the left, rep retail to the right. So in the retail, you can feel this tumbled leather a bit, even though it might just be an overlay. On the left, the rep pair, you can feel it, but it feels, or you can see it, but it feels completely smooth. Looking at them this direction, it looks like you can see more netting on the retail pair, which is to the right, and you can see less netting on the rep pair. From touching the netting, it is soft on the retail pair. It's a little firmer on the rep pair, but it will still move like it does on the retail pair. Colors in this light, everything looks similar color wise. They've even got the hang tag on the proper shoe through the proper hole. So let's take a little closer look at, let's say, maybe how high the tongues sit up. So I'll pull those up. Looks like the tongue length is about the same. This is the tongue tag on the left retail pair, which feels soft. This is the tongue on the left rep pair, and so I'll bring this up a little closer where you can see if I can straighten this tongue out for you again, where you can see the two of them a little closer to each other. They both feel soft. That's a little rougher, but it's really soft. Both tongues feel soft. The rep feels a little thicker, but you cannot tell any difference in thickness just by looking at them. The rep actually has the men's 11.5 tag, but it has it in front of the Nike sign, whereas in the retail pair, it is behind the Nike sign, and we'll pull that out and look at it. I did get a double up on these, and I wore a pair already, so we'll take a look at that. I did also notice there's a difference in the way they're tied. So this one is tied in the front and tucked in, whereas the retail pair is tied like that and tucked behind the tongue. All right, here's the side-by-side view, and if you haven't already noticed, the toe box is different between the retail and the rep. So it almost looks like the rep maybe used an older shape or just couldn't get the toe box to be as sleek. I will pull these two in closer for you to see. Again, the rep is on the left, the retail is on the right. So see how sleek this retail toe box is versus the toe box on the rep. So I'm not saying that you can't get a retail pair that has the toe box that looks like the Jordans that have been coming out, but most of them are reimagined to have that original shape with the toe box that's more sleeker. So let's take a look at the shoes. So this is the rep shoe. There you go. Get you a good look at that. Now, just for comparison's sake, let's look at the left retail shoe. So that slick toe box is an important feature. All right, rep left, retail right. So there is the netting on the two. Looking at the netting, you can see that on the retail pair, the netting, the round circles between the netting look to be a little bit bigger, if you can see that between the two. Other than that, it looks to be about the same amount of netting. It just seems like on the retail pair, you can see a few more rows. Both of them do have the little point here, right there. Looks a little different on the retail versus the rep pair. And then they have a little point down there. Other than that, you can see that the tumble is just a little bit more refined and pronounced on the retail. Looking at them on the sides, On the mesh here, you can see that you see a little bit less behind there. That's usually always a tail point with the 4s, but it's so close. Some retail pairs could be like that too. Size 11, you see 1, 2 in a little bit of the third window, 1, 2, a little bit of the third window in the air pocket. On a size 12, you'll see 3 of the towers. But looking at them from the side, they do look fairly similar in design, stitching, and quality. Even the grays and stuff look different, so not a whole lot to distinguish outside the toe box and stuff. We'll put these under the black light and see if they do anything different. But before we do that, let's take a look at the Nike signs. And so I'm going to... All right, here's the back tab. Rep to the left, retail to the right. Looking at them, it looks like they did a pretty good job with spacing and all that stuff. The air does look a little bit bigger on the retail pair, and the font is just a little bit thinner and refined. In person, I'm not sure if you can see it on the video or not, but the back tab is a little bit more flat and glitter, I see, more so than on the rep pair, but the rep pair has it a little bit also. The Nike sign looks pretty good on the rep pair, except if you look closely, you can see the letters are a little closer together, but it looks like they did a pretty good job with that spacing and sizing. You can see that the thread is different. This thread is a little shinier, kind of blends with this material more, whereas this one's a little black. With this whole back tab thing, that one feels firmer than this one does. This one feels a little soft, but that whole flippy thing, I don't know that it does anything. Heights of the shoes, it looks like they actually have the height of the shoe right. I've seen some where the heights of the shoes were not correct. Also, looking at the toe boxes, retail here, rep here. So if you zoom in on this thread, that in person is a little more shiny than this one is here, but it's really close. So you couldn't tell if you didn't have the 2 retail pairs side by side. These are the left shoes. That is the left rep shoe. That is the left retail shoe. Let me flip this Nike sign around for you. So it's pretty flat. This one is kind of flat, kind of reflective. Maybe it looks a little shinier because I touched it. There's a lot more glitter in it, which I do not see in that one. So you can tell that size-wise, they look similar. It's just that the rep tag is a little shinier and not as flat eggshell as the retail tag. Let me flip the tag back up. Retail pair. See how much of this netting you can see versus the rep pair. You can see a little bit more of the netting, but it's not like a huge telltale sign. So it's pretty close overall. You can see some quality differences. So if you zoom in here, you see how the leather's cut on the edge in there. Then look at the leather here. It's a little different, so you can tell the difference there. So outside of the toe box, the rest of the stuff looks pretty good. So let's get these under black light real quick and then look at the... No, we're gonna look at the insoles in the black light. All right, I forgot I pulled the paper out. So this is the paper from the rep pair, pretty soft. Toss that over to the left. Let's get the paper out of the retail pair, if I can. It's also pretty soft, but you can see that the rep pair has a white paper. This one has a more off-white, more cream tan like Jordans usually have in them. Here's the insoles. Rep is left, retail is right. Both of them have a little bit of paper on them from being pulled out. On the camera, you can't see a whole lot of difference in person. The Nike Air sign on the retail insole, it looks a little shinier, and this one almost looks like it's gonna crack and peel off, whereas that one almost looks like it has the material of the shoe. Thickness wise, they're both pretty thin. That's up high. A lot of shoes are like that. On these pairs down here, I'll double check my other retail pair. On the back, I know there are some differences. So back of the retail is almost completely smooth. You can barely see the writing on there that says AJ11OF-8HMS115B. You can barely see that on there. Whereas on this one, there's a lot of details on there. And that could be what it looks like on the European pair, which they use to make the replicas from. A lot of times when I pull these out, the retail pair will sit different, but they sit the same. Both of them feel about the same, so not a whole lot of difference. This is the inside of the rep pair. It has a stamp, and you can see the tape there. That's the left shoe, whereas inside the retail pair, there's no stamp, there's tape there. And I want to show you what happens inside this shoe if I shine a light in the ear pocket. All right, so I'm going to put a flashlight to the ear pocket. See how you can see inside the shoe what's lit up where the air pocket is. So let's take a look at the difference in the retail pair when I do the same thing. So in the retail pair, oops, now I got lights flashing. In the retail pair, you can see the dots, but you don't see a line across like you do in the rep pair. So that's an interesting difference. Then you also want to look at the way the stitching is inside the shoe. That usually differs between retail and rep. Surprisingly, the rep almost looks neater. All right, let's see what happens under the black light. This is the rep pair. And if you can see it, the gray turns a little color. The red on the tongue, that doesn't. The red on the bottom, it almost turns like an infrared color. Let's see on the sole. Yeah, that turns like an orangey infrared color. What else happens on there? So that's the rep pair. Let's bring in the retail pair into the mix. So the gray on the retail pair, nothing happens in the inside, but something happens on the rep pair. All right, let me lift it up for you. On the retail pair, the red does not turn bright orange. So that is your tail. If you put a black light on it and the bottom turns bright orange, then you've got a rep pair. Let's see, the retail pair, the insole kind of glows like a glowy green color. What if this one just kind of reflects back at you. Nothing on the back. Shine it on the inside, and the tape seems to glow a little bit. I can't even seem to position this to show you well on the camera. Yeah, that's the inside of the retail pair. And this is the inside of the rep pair. They both seem to glow. The boxes don't seem to do anything up here. I did tell you that I had a pair that I wore already. It's this pair, this retail pair. This is the retail pair. This is the rep pair. I did try the rep pair on, and it does seem to have the same amount of room as the retail pair. The rep pair does have a stronger glue smell than the retail pair. So if you're using that to legit check between the black light and the glue smell, looking at the toe box shape, which will really let you know. So that is the rep toe box, and that is the retail toe box, which is a little more sleek. Other than that, not a whole lot of differences between the shoes. So if you're using those to legit check, you really have to pay attention, because some reps do have the toe box exactly right, but I've also seen those glow orange like this rep pair does. Before we go, let's take a look at the sneaker tags. Here is the retail tag on the pair that we use all throughout the video. 11.5, factory is LN3. Now let's take a look at the tag of the rep pair. We'll look at the left shoe also. Here is the tag of the rep pair. If we can get that to show a little clearer. There you go. It shows SZ factory, which might be what was on the tag of the one they copied. And lastly, let's take a look at the other retail pair that I've worn. which is factory LM4. My Reimagined 3s are like this also, LM3 and LM4. I think in the Reimagined 3s, I like the LM3 factory better, but in the 4s, they seem to be exactly the same. So I'll take some pictures of those tags so we can talk about it a little more. Pay attention to the tag, check the production dates, the sizing parts to see differences. This is the rep one right here. That other one was the retail one. So you can see the production date differences, and this is the other retail pair that I have. So pay attention. All right, wanted to give you all a final look at these. I have them in a different room where there's actually some light coming through the window, just to see if they are any different. All right, wanted y'all to get a final look at these. Again, rep to the left, retail to the right. What I want to do is put them in front of the camera so you can see the whole things if I lift them up like that. So maybe you can see the differences in the toe box if I do that. Or if I put them like this, you can kind of see the differences in the toe boxes. So that is the retail pair versus, move this out the way, versus the rep pair. Overall, I think it's a pretty good shoe. The toe box would be the giveaway, and under a black light, that would be the giveaway. Also, the amount of space over here will be your giveaway. Other than that, I think they're pretty similar, and that's my review. So again, educational purposes only. Cop what you like. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content on legit checking your pairs.